Hi everybody. So I'm sitting here in beautiful Playa del Carmen, just watching the cars go by. Hope they don't annoy us too much. So this is going to be 3 energy healing essential tips that you have to know in order to do a good, fruitful, balanced, and most importantly, healthy and energetically stable healing session for somebody. So number 1, always prepare for a session. The time says 65 minutes or 30 minutes for whatever you're doing, but I always think it's important to prepare for maybe 10 to 15 minutes before a session, because you just want, the second your energy starts interacting with the other person, they're going to intuitively sense that and start ingraining themselves within that energy. So if you're a little fractured, if you're a little chaotic the second you get into a session, it's going to be hard to balance that out. It's like first time's a charm kind of stuff. And every session, this is the same. So take 10, 15 minutes to balance yourself out and relax before a session, and it'll, in my experience, highly increase the potential for a client to return, or just their experience in general for returning clients. So that's number 1. Number 2, make every session a different experience. Even if you're working with the same client again, we need to use our intuition in order to sense where a client's at and what kind of communication they need, what kind of energy they need for each session. For example, I just did a blog post on this. Actually, I don't think it was on my blog. I think it's just on my website somewhere. But sometimes you're going to want to talk more. Sometimes you can intuitively sense that a person needs more communication and they need a greater clarity. But sometimes a person doesn't want all that information. They just want to sit back and relax and receive the energy. They don't need the extra information. They don't need their rational mind getting too involved in the session by incorporating, C3, big blockage. Maybe it's connected to this. A lot of the time it's better to just sit back, relax, and not even say anything about it. And so this incorporates sound and also post-session feedback, So you can ask people, do you want post-session feedback? Do you want this or that? But the less questions you can ask and the more intuition you can use, the better, right? Because that's going to help you stay more in the flow with any given session. And also the client's going to be impressed, whether consciously or unconsciously, with your awareness of their needs and how your intuition is expressing itself. So that's number 2. Excuse me. Number 3 is always be careful with what energies you bring into a session. Now, with standard Reiki, I've been told that there are, a couple energy pools you can pull from. That's one thing to think about. But if we're talking more broadly about energy healing, there are so many different energies you can pull from, and it can be very enticing, alluring to want to draw from sources that might not be completely connected to source consciousness or God. So for me personally, especially not having maybe the level of clarity that I would like to have, or that I'm going to have in the future, about where I stand astrally, or what guides I have, and who I'm really communicating with at certain points, because I don't have that same clarity that a lot of people have. But let's not get confused. A lot of people say they have that clarity, but really they're being fooled. They're being taken over by some sort of entity, which is really the one calling the shots. And so the energy gets quite distorted, and so the powers are not coming from an authentic space. So I always ground my energy to source consciousness, and then sometimes I'll bring in a water element, an earth element, depending on what a chakra needs, and especially with like a heart chakra or the second chakra, which I believe are both water-based. I'm going to bring in that energy more. But that's another reason why it's so important to ground yourself prior to the session, because it can help dispel any negative energies that you're bringing into a session beforehand. So that's 3 tips that you got to know before you do any energy healing. This is relevant for professionals, masters, but also anybody that wants to do healing on themselves. You don't need any training to do energy healing. You know, we're all energetic beings already. We just need to tap into it and allow ourselves to open up to that truth and that beauty. So, hope you enjoyed this. Beautiful, beautiful day. I'll talk to you later.